the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Love that music. Welcome, everyone, to Bare Their Souls. My name is Aldo Gandia. Dan Aguirre is running about 5 minutes late. He told me that he ate some... he says, I don't want to sound racist or anything, Dennis, but I ate some Asian food and I've had the water shits for the last 7 hours. So Dan's running a little late. Hopefully he'll be nice and clean when he gets in. And this is hilarious. Today on the Greg Gabriel Show, I mentioned to Greg at the top of the show that I had a blemish that popped, and I was bleeding all over the place. I must have lost like a pint of blood today. I am not kidding, man. It was coming out all over the place. And Cliff says, big question of the night, will Aldo be wearing a Band-Aid? I did for about an hour to try to get it to stop. But PZ is right. I am wearing makeup tonight. And you can see my wife put the makeup over it, and it's not as big a blemish as it appears there. But she didn't want to remove the scab. So what a way to start the show, talking about scabs and blemishes and blood and water shits. That's Bare Their Souls for you. What a day also for us Chicago Bears fans. I of course, listened to the press conferences and found some clips for us to play tonight. And I'm getting all psyched up because, hey, we may not get the decisions from Ryan Poles that we personally want, but this is a great time to be a Chicago Bears fan. I mean, it is a great time. We could get this major haul by trading Justin Fields, or we can draft the best quarterback in the draft, whoever it is, probably Caleb Williams, according to most, and reset the quarterback salary, which would then allow us to get a major haul in terms of free agents for the next 4 to 5 years. So either way, we're getting a haul. As long as Ryan Poles doesn't mess it up with the wrong players, I think that we'll be in fine shape. This is a really good time to be a Chicago Bears fan. We're operating from a position of strength, and we have to acknowledge that, and we have to appreciate that, as opposed to everybody puffing their chests out on social media and saying, fuck you, you're wrong about Justin Fields, or fuck you, you're wrong about Caleb Williams, or just plain fuck you. So there's a lot of that going around, as Shane Marsaw used to say on the old 100 Proof days. But it was also somewhat revealing press conference, particularly from Ryan Poles at the Combine today. He shared some things that led some people to believe Justin Fields is gone, but other people to believe, wow, this guy is a master of playing his cards, and he's saying things to raise the price up for that number 1 overall pick. Personally, I don't know what he's doing, but Greg Gabriel says, I really, really think what he's doing is a masterful job. So I'll go with Greg on this one. I don't always agree with Greg, but I'll go with him on this one, that this is a moment in time where perhaps the Bears general manager is doing a better job than the previous GMs we've seen in our lifetime. So this will be interesting. I just want to let people know that besides Dan joining us any minute now, Johnny Santucci will be here in about an hour to present his Bears State of Affairs. And in between that, we've got a special guest from Barrett Sports Media. Barrett's, if you're not following them on social media or visit their website, they really do a great job. If you're into following sports media, they do a great job of talking about local radio stations, national shows, TV shows, anything related to sports media. And I wanted David here. And I wish I would actually book them for another night so we could spend some more time talking about the news of the day. But he's going to be on for about 20 minutes. And the big thing that I want to learn from him is, where are we going with NFL broadcast? Because I am afraid that the next big TV contract, which will be up in 4 to 5 years, he'll probably correct me on that, is going to involve a lot of streaming of games. We already had one game streaming, NFL playoff game streaming. We've got the Thursday night games streaming. You know, when are we going to see us having to pay $39.99 like we do for a boxing or MMA fight? When are we going to have to pay that kind of money to watch a Super Bowl? It's probably a long-term time away, and Roger Goodell did say that while he's commissioner, that day will never come. But come on, if the money is there, if the owners learn that, you know, Amazon or Peacock or whoever the hell wants to pay, you know, $1 trillion for the rights for the Super Bowl, I don't care what Roger Goodell says. We're gonna be having to pay some streaming fees to see the Super Bowl, plus still have to watch the commercials. So that's the really irritating thing. Hey, Jordan. By the way, Jordan is going to be a guest on Draft on Tap this Thursday. We're moving the show from Wednesday to Thursday. Danny's daughter is going to be performing at the United Center during the Chicago Bulls halftime show, and she's part of a dance group. So he's going to go see his daughter, and then we'll reconvene here on Thursday night for Draft on Tap and Jordan Silvera. And my link doesn't work. You know why? I think I sent you the wrong link. That's a message from my man Dan Aguirre. So let me send them the right one. And let's see. Where are you there, Dan Aguirre? All right. And let me hit paste. Boom. He should be here any second. So it's going to be a good draft on tap with Jordan and Jordan and Danny. And we'll talk about a lot of prospects. Should be very, very interesting. NFL Combine is going on now. We're not going to talk too much about the Combine today other than what was said. So there he is.
Oh, hey, thank God.
How are you, brother?
I have shit like 8 times today, but other than that, I did a bunch of fucking. I had a bunch of diarrhea. I've been Jeff Daniels and Dumb and Dumbering it all night. I had a Chinese buffet, and it's just been killing me. But the only thing killing me worse is this Justin Fields. Are we trading him? Maybe tomorrow we'll fight. We're going to do it right. What does all this mean, Aldo?
I was just telling the audience, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do. You know, what Ryan Poles said today was kind of cryptic, would lead somebody to believe that we're trading Justin Fields. But also, as Greg Gabriel said, I think he's doing a master job of manipulating the media and other teams into driving that draft pick up. So we will soon see. Did you get a sense of anything that he said that might sway you to believe a certain thing is happening?
It felt like it was a trade, but then, like you said, you mentioned Greg. I looked at one of his tweets when he was talking about, I think the Bears will trade Fields and the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Tooch. But yeah. So I mean, wow, could they trade both and then draft like Drake May or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea what to expect. But like Justin said on the St. Brown Brothers thing, it's just like I just want to know at this point. Just it's agony. Maybe that's why I'm shitting.
That's the stress, right? But I also started the show by saying this really is a great time to be a Bears fan because we've got all this intrigue going on because we really can't go wrong. If Fields comes back, you and I will get our wish. And if Caleb Williams is drafted, we've got a hot, young, potentially great quarterback, and we're going to get a haul one way or another. If we draft Caleb Williams, we'll get a haul of free agents, or if we trade the number 1 pick and Fields is the quarterback, then we're going to get a haul of draft picks and maybe another DJ Moore type player. So this really is a time for us Bears fans to be grateful.
Somebody's blowing you up.
That's you.
Oh, is it really?
Yes,
I was blowing up the toilet, not you. Blowing up the toilet.
We got we're in a tornado watch here in Chicago area and in my suburb.
Oh,
Holy
no. That reminds me, remember in 18 when the Bears started using the air siren?
Yeah.
It only lasted like 2 games because we lost thanks to Cody Parkey, but
that's right. But if it continues to rain, then we might have to. Dan, you'll take over the show. You and Tooch will take it over the show.
Oh, that's me and Tooch's love song there?
That was the Titanic song. My house will be drowning in water.
Did you see? I know we were talking Bears, but Sacha Baron Cohen, I think it was Bruno. Did you ever see Bruno?
Yeah, excellent movie.
At the end of it, where he's like in a cage fight somewhere in the South. And the 2 fighters start kissing and they're playing the Titanic song and people are like, you fucking, well, they're saying obscenities or slurs against homosexuals and throwing in chairs into the ring and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was so funny.
Oh, gosh, that was really funny. He's made, 4 or 5 movies and that one and the one with the Ali G character.
Did you see the one on Showtime where the season ended with him talking to OJ?
Oh, yeah. That's
where
right.
he was he was supposedly getting his dick sucked by a woman there, and he's like, "Come on, Juice, just tell me, you killed your wife. It's okay, I killed her too."
He's something else.
OJ's on Twitter. I don't know why he doesn't join us.
Yeah, hey OJ, if you're watching on Twitter, come and join us on the show. We'll talk about your brilliant football career and how you scraped justice. Hey, I want to squeeze in a quick clip here because I got a few of them, and so
I'd love to hear them.
Now the speculation is that this deal with the Bears moving Justin Fields to Atlanta, his hometown, is practically a done deal. And the reason why is the new Atlanta Falcons head coach, Raheem Morris, told Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports the following.
You want to go get the best fit for your people. You want to go get the best fit for your coaches. You want to go get the best fit for our city. And you want to do all those things. Like there's nothing ruled out. And I forgot to mention trade, because all of those things come into play, and like, I know I'm all over the place with you right now. No. And it's good because we've really been tedious. We've really been going through the process of how we're going to acquire the best fit for us. And I know you're going to jump all over this best fit for the city thing. I can see the excitement.
Well, I mean, you said it.
Face
you said it because I mean, help me understand why is that important?
That is certainly important. We're talking about our fan base. We're talking about the people that we're involved with, everything that we do. You're talking about the people that's really important to us. We're talking about the support that we got to gain from those guys and the fan base. When we lean on them, we're going to work in the community. All of those things are extremely important to us, and it just fits right into our Falcons ethos. That's really important to what we want to do and how we want to go about our business.
You know how that's going to play out. Best fit for the city, right?
Like people are going to read into those words, whatever, however they do those things, and you can't stop that. Yep. Obviously there's people that are from Atlanta. There's people that from around Atlanta. You can name the mileage of how close some of the people are, but you got to do what's best and what's right for your team at the right time. And we won't rule out anything until we got to make those decisions at that date.
He wants Justin Fields.
So do
he
I.
Wants him. Yeah,
you know what Raheem Morris looks like to me?
Who?
He looks like his dad could have been like Bill Duke on Predator.
Could be. The great Bill Duke.
When he's like, I see you. I see you. Looks very similar.
What'd you think about what he had to say? It was basically saying, we're talking to Chicago about Justin. Did you get that impression?
He, at the very least, I mean, he knew what he was doing there, bringing up, like, he knew that was going to bring up Fields. I mean, why else would you do that? Unless you're trying to fire up your fan base and say, yeah, we're going to get Justin.
Exactly. And so I got to believe that his GM is like having a little talk with him and saying, you can't do that. You're driving the price up. This is going to be harder for me to make this happen. So it was very bizarre that he went there. And good job by Jonathan Jones to get him to open up. That guy, Jonathan Jones, I'd love to get him on the show. He's, I think, a rising star over at CBS Sports.
I'm going to be heartbroken if he's traded, man, for real. But to counteract that, Peter King, have you brought this up yet?
No, I have not.
Peter King wrote his final article. He did Monday Morning Quarterback forever, and he's retiring. But his last thing he intimated, he said that the word that he was getting was that Justin Fields would remain in Chicago and the Bears were going to trade the pick.
Right.
And that's from Peter King.
I actually have Peter King talking about this. I think it was with Rich Eisen. We'll see in a second here. I didn't get a chance to tighten this up, so it's 2 minutes long.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Dan Patrick. And Patrick asks him, who are you sources on this? Who have you talked to?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You didn't speak to anybody.
I spoke to nobody. I haven't talked to anybody. Like, Dan, a year ago at this time, I just read. I read what's out there. A year ago at this time, I sat in a room for 45 minutes with Ryan Poles, at the scouting combine at the Hyatt in Indianapolis. His next appointment was Scott Fitterer, the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. And this is what Ryan Poles is going to do this week. And I just believe, if I am Ryan Poles, you know what I have on my team? I have a B quarterback with about 10 significant holes. I probably, in the next 2 drafts, could take the first pick in this draft and turn it into, along with my other picks, a total of maybe 8 picks in the top 2 rounds in the next 2 drafts. I could do that. Why wouldn't you do that? Yeah. Why wouldn't you build a great team around a B quarterback instead of drafting a quarterback who might be an A quarterback, but it's the hardest thing to project in all of sports. What quarterback that you draft is going to be great? Look at the misses over the years. So in my opinion, if your locker room loves Justin Fields, if you know that you can surround Justin Fields with a supporting cast the way Brett Veach and Andy Reid have surrounded Patrick Mahomes with a supporting cast, to me, it's not a very difficult decision. But I don't know what they're going to do, Dan. I put that in basically because you just keep hearing things about this. And I just believe that the smartest thing for them is to trade the pick.
What do you think there, Dan Aguirre?
Hey, I want to say hi to the other Dan. We need to do a show again, you bastard. No, I'm just kidding. I miss you. And Heidi, I miss you as well. I'm glad you all are with us. And yeah, man, like Peter King's got more credibility than I will ever have, but it sounds like those are things that you and I have been saying. Mm-hmm. Maybe not articulated the same way, but the gist of it, it's why we're like, man, we could really make a run this year if you get those other picks and you keep Justin. But so many people just don't like Fields, man. But I think it's the way to go. I truly do.
Well, I'm going to squeeze in this next clip here because we're sort of on the subject. I understand the Justin Fields hate, or in some cases, the disapproval of Justin Fields' performance. There was a play this year that I will bring up to my dying days that showed my frustration with Justin Fields. I've actually done this a couple of times, but in this one, this was him not fucking he knew the play, he knew what he had to do, but he didn't accomplish it.
Can I guess before you go to it?
Please.
Minnesota, when he gets hurt. Or the first play of the game where
There
the line shifts and he's supposed to go right and he gets sacked. Oh, okay.
That's the one. Here it is. This is Eberflus and Getsy talking about that play.
Yeah, and you're going to see Wanham shoot from the edge right here. And this is something Justin Fields has to know.
Yeah, so they were a 6-man up, right? They were all across, right? We were in empty formation, and we did the right thing in terms of sending the line one way. Rip Liz the line, so we sent it to the right. Let the outside guy go free, and the ball's supposed to be delivered right there to. It's an outside in read, so it's KB to DJ. So we just got to float away from the pressure, right, and deliver the pass.
And Justin did a great job. He checked the protection. He just didn't react the right way. When you make the protection and you have a guy free, he's got to drift right and throw it, and he didn't do that. But he did the hard part. He recognized the defense that they had never shown us. He handled it with the right protection adjustment. He just didn't, handle the next part of it right.
If he had slid right with KB and DJ out there.
Yeah, and you could see he's looking that way. He needs to drift and just let it go, and then he didn't do that.
He was looking that way. He calls the play. He knows everybody's going to block to the right and that there's going to be an open man going, but he hesitates, doesn't throw, and then he looks for another receiver, not realizing or not remembering that he called a blocking scheme that was going to let one of the blitzers come in and crush him. Yeah. All you had to do was take a couple of steps, and if you didn't think the guy was open, throw it at his fucking feet. Jesus, that frustrated me. This is 3 years as an NFL quarterback. You and I have talked about this, Dan. As much as we love him, those kind of mistakes really are daggers to the heart.
When I saw that, again, I didn't know the formation that was going or anything, but I was watching it with Justin, who was on not Justin Fields, but Justin, who was on the air with us a while back.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no, empty backfield. As soon as I saw it, I said, oh, no, empty backfield. He always fails in the empty backfield. Something bad happens. He gets sacked every time there's an empty backfield. And sure enough, within like 2 seconds, boom. And I didn't know that it was his fault watching it live. But especially after you're listening to the explanation, I don't know what he's thinking there.
I have no idea. It's like he forgot. Like it's early in the game. He's not 100% focused. He made the right correction, but he forgot that, there's an unblocked guy coming my way. It's like, come on, man. A question here. Osama says, how much can Fields actually improve in his fourth year? Going the rookie way is the logical choice. Also, CW is a better natural passer. We'll answer that, Osama, a little later. But first, our guest has arrived. His name is Dave Green. He is from Barrett Sports Media. And there he is there. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really, really well. Thank you for being here. My co-host, Dan Aguirre, is calling in from West Virginia. That's his beautiful picture there. You're in the middle, and I'm the ugly guy on the far end here.
3 beautiful faces for radio, right?
There you go. Well said. Dave, I wanted to have you here because, first of all, Dan and I are big fans of following sports media. Dan when he flew in from Chicago, he brought DVDs of past Super Bowls, and we spent the whole day watching different Super Bowls. And we talked about Pat Summerall, and so bottom line is, boy, things have changed, and they're going to continue to change. So, Dave, I was hoping that you can give us fans, connoisseurs, consumers of sports media, particularly from the NFL, and can you give us a clue as to what's going to happen? Are we going to be paying $50 to watch a Super Bowl game on streaming on Amazon? What's going on? Help us.
Yeah, it's in some cases it's tough to decipher because of course there could be things invented between now and the end of some of the television contracts that come up that we don't even know about that we wouldn't know to talk about right now. Obviously what we saw this past year with the special streaming only game that took place with Peacock and a $40 million increase for that same game coming up next year with Amazon doing it, you're going to see more of that. I don't think there's any doubt that there will be more games that are carved out like that game was a year ago. some really smart people said recently they think within a year we'll see another either wild card or playoff game that will be the same. It will be exclusively streamed either in a deal with their current partner or with another partner. You know, the one thing the NFL has obviously always been very smart about is, you know, nobody gets their package exclusively. So, you know, in parceling out the pieces, they're able to have so much competition, and it's gold. Right. That's the, you know, I'm sure you guys probably saw the number. I know a lot of people did, but 93 out of 100 shows in 2023 in terms of the top rated had to do with the National Football League. So,
Amazing.
you know, it's something that as a network you almost have to have a piece of. And now when you bring the streamers into it, there's so much demand. I think we will see more and more things become pulled out of deals, meaning you get this deal Thanksgiving Day, right? Could be something that they eventually say, look, you don't get that anymore in this whole package. We're going to do Thanksgiving Day a different way. And it's going to go to a streamer, different networks, however they decide to do it. But, you know, I think we're going to see a lot of that over the course of the next several years while the NFL tries to figure out what is the best way for them to continue to make just ridiculous amounts of money on a product that has gone so far ahead of the other sports when it comes to broadcasting.
It was quite ingenious to have that game on Peacock because they were going to have it on NBC anyway, in theory, and of course that's their streaming partner. So you're kicking back money to them now because people are subscribing to Peacock that ordinarily perhaps wouldn't. So maybe you do the same thing with CBS coming up because they're with Paramount. I guess Fox doesn't have anybody right now partnered with their for streaming, right?
Correct. Not yet. But again, we know that, you know, things are happening and, you know, more things are going to develop here over the next, who knows, probably not that long of time where, you know, we will see if this, group of three coming together to form a streaming platform, if that happens. If it happens, how is it rolled out? What does it, what does it include? What does it include of properties that, you know, all three of those companies have right now? So there's a lot that is still very much undecided, but you're absolutely right in the sense that, it brought, and all numbers seem to indicate, or all reports, I should say, seem to indicate that Peacock did very well. Not just the fact that 23 million people viewed it, but how many people kept their Peacock subscription. And obviously that was another main goal of theirs. So it'll be different this year because it'll be Amazon, and a lot more people have Amazon, of course, because of what else Prime comes with. We got to get those deliveries, you know, of our toothbrush today, not tomorrow.
Or the fleshlight.
Yeah, the flashlight. We cannot possibly wait 2 or 3 days for that. We need it tomorrow. So we already pay for Amazon Prime and get it. So there's a lot more people available. And again, I just think you'll continue to see more things pulled out of agreements and sold in as a special broadcast that could potentially become a streaming only product.
Let me get one more in, Aldo. I'm sorry.
Of course, get as many in as you want. No.
All right, so Dave, sir, I was surprised by how much I didn't complain about YouTube's coverage of Sunday Ticket this year because I was afraid it would be buffering, and none of that seemed to happen. Do you think that at any point, or this is just wishful thinking, other sports, for example, will have like, oh, if I only want the Cubs, fuck, I'll get the Cubs. You think that they'll ever do that to where I can just pay for the Bears and not have to spend $400 on the rest of everything else?
Yes and no. I think you may be able to get that kind of coverage, but I think you'll pay handsomely for it if that were the case, because you're cutting out obviously some layers that would also make money in the process, you know, the way it's currently set up. So, you know, they're not they want the user experience, of course, to be phenomenal, and they want to be able to serve the customers as best they can. But that's fifth on the list to numbers 1 through 4, which are make more money, make more money, make more money, make more money. So, they're obviously never going to do anything that is going to hurt themselves in the revenue category.
Now, the ratings for the Super Bowl were astronomical. I saw a tweet from NFL Media. A custom survey was done by the NFL and Nielsen that revealed this last Super Bowl reached an estimated 210 million viewers, a 4% increase from Nielsen rating service. And a number of those were from the other avenues that the game was delivered. So they aggregated it and came up with $210 million. Now, a big reason for the increase, of course, as Barrett Sports Media, your place, put out, it had a lot to do with Taylor Swift, the most popular pop singer in the world. But it also has to do with availability on different formats. As we know, young people are cutting the cord. They're not watching broadcast TV, so they'll go to some other device to watch a big Super Bowl game because that's what everybody in America is talking about. So let me see it here. So my question to you is, because of the success of the Super Bowl, could that potentially expedite how things are going to be streamed in the NFL and even other sports?
You mean more from the standpoint that
that there will be more streaming that you would have to access to watch a game?
But yes, I mean, the answer is yes. I think now that the NFL has done it and they didn't get destroyed, there were some people, if you recall, right the week before that game, when everyone really realized what was really happening, that it was really not going to be offered to you unless you had Peacock, unless you lived in one of those markets. When people realized that, there were some people, high profile media people who were projecting disaster, I think was a word I heard, many times, but that didn't happen. And of course, your other sports are going to look at that and say, okay, here's something that we need to think about. Baseball's got some big decisions to make. ESPN and Major League Baseball have a long-term contract that has an out in it in 2025 for both sides. So most likely someone's opting out of that deal, more so because they just want different things in it. Because when you negotiated that deal a few years ago, there weren't some of these issues of streaming and potentially pulling out a game like we saw in the NFL. So I absolutely believe that you will see this in other sports. It will continue, and it will eventually be made easier. I think a lot of us believe we're really inventing cable television all over again, except through streaming, where somebody is going to have the package where you can put it on and you can flip through different stations just like you would do now in cable. I think that's most likely to happen.
Yeah, interesting. The other thing is that Roger Goodell said at, I think, the State of the NFL press conferences that as long as he's commissioner, the Super Bowl will not be a pay-per-view event. But I got a feeling, and if they haven't thought about this, they can have this idea for free as long as they don't come after me when I use their highlights on our show here, is that, you could put the Super Bowl, continue to have the main broadcast Super Bowl, but then for streaming, you have pop stars announcing the game, or just like they do now with the Nickelodeon, and that's their way to appeal to kids and so forth. You can broadcast away in so many different, with so many different approaches that will appeal to virtually any demographic out there. You like that idea, Dave?
I don't not like it, but I'm not the network paying, the amount of money to carry the game. So, if it's their partners, right? Just like, again, if Nickelodeon does it because CBS is on it and it's all a Paramount product, so who cares? I think you'll see, certainly a lot of that. But I like the idea of the alternate broadcast. You know, I'm someone who enjoys, for example, football. I'd like to see the all 22 of any football game that I'm watching, right? I would enjoy that experience. If I'm at a basketball game, I like to sit way up high and see plays develop, right? So I just like to watch things maybe a little differently. But you know, it's to have the alternate options, I think, is the other thing that we will start to see. And of course, digitally, it's a lot easier to do those types of things. So that's where I think they're going to have the advantage. You mentioned YouTube earlier and how they did with Sunday Ticket, right? So now we're hearing this year the experience is going to be different for being able to pull up multiple games at once, and instead of only the ones that YouTube has picked for you, you're going to be able to pick the games that you watch. I believe it's up to 4. So they're already doing things using the technology to improve it. And of course, we know that will just continue to happen.
I got
Dan,
go
ahead, Dan. No, I was just going to say, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to take a different direction and get you all's reactions to see, because we referenced the Super Bowl. There was an article in Awful Announcing like a week ago. Apparently, I mean, I've never been the biggest Romo fan, but apparently there's a large contingency of people that are saying since he signed his new deal that he's just like not trying, and that there's some momentum saying that they're going to pull him and put him in the studio next season and go after Greg Olsen. A, I was going to get you all's reactions to that, but B, is Romo really that bad now? But I mean, I didn't watch the game and think, oh, he's really annoying the shit out of me. I'd rather listen to him than Troy Aikman.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, of course, has their favorites, and I was listening to John Smoltz do an interview this morning, and he said, "Look, you can't win when you're the national broadcaster, right? Everybody thinks that you're against their team and that you're rooting too hard for the other team." So I think that's something that they all face. I don't think Romo has been nearly as bad as some people have portrayed it. With that said, I thought the end of the game, it was awful. You'd let that breathe. And I think a lot of people have pointed that out, and he does some goofy things in a broadcast, and he says Jim way too many times, and there's a few things there, but it seems like he and Nance have a good relationship. So I would be surprised if they did something, although the best thing, of course, that they have is that Greg Olsen did as good of a job as he has done. So if they were to do something, they know they have someone if they're able to lock him up, because I think there's going to be other options for him as well. But again, it's everyone's taste. I look at Olsen, and every time he's on camera, and all I can think about is a Saturday Night Live character.
That's right.
When he's there. So it's just, that for me, it's a like a mental thing. He could be saying anything, but if he's on camera, I'm just like, oh man, that looks like something.
Mikey Day.
It seems so obvious to me, and I know they're not going to do it, but it seems so obvious that Fox's easy fix for this is to just put Brady and Olsen in a 3-man booth and just keep them both, but I guess Brady's already said that's not going to happen. He's the analyst, and fuck Greg Olsen. So
yeah, that's a lot of money to put into one booth, so that's one thing you have to consider. But they do a lot of games. I mean, they should be able to keep them both. I'm just very interested to see what happens with Tom Brady and how the public reacts to Tom Brady. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Apple TV documentary, which is it's great. I'm from St. Louis. I hate the New England Patriots,
right,
with a passion. But the documentary is really well done, and Tom Brady is pretty good in that. So it'll be interesting to see. What, again, not only is he good right off the bat, seems like he's working hard and asking, the right people, the right questions from everything you hear and read. But the other side of it is, will the public knowing that there's a lot of anti-Tom Brady out there, will the public just destroy him, week 1, week 2, and it's just a beating from then on? Because I could see either one happening.
Dave, can you, Dan and I were big lovers of Monday Night Football with the 3-man crew and Cosell and Meredith, and it was Keith Jackson first, and then
Frank Gilbert.
You think that will ever come back? Will we see the networks embrace the 3-person crew?
I think I would see no reason that they would never come back to it. Again, I think it's a money issue, probably more than anything. Some of these guys now are the amount of money you're paying Joe and Troy, who I think are terrific, others don't. They need to do the game, the two of them. Now, of course, at some point, Joe's not going to want to do it anymore. And, they'll have to bring somebody else in. Is that a case where you bring someone in for a 3-person booth for a year or two and then transition? I could see that certainly happening. But again, I think the deal is more, the financial side. There's so many broadcasters. The one thing you do see, even on an Amazon Thursday night game, there's a lot of people on their payroll as football analysts. The shows, they can't build desks any larger.
That's right.
Pre-game shows, they got people everywhere. So, and that's going to be another thing to watch, by the way, is to see what happens if CBS makes any changes on their pregame show, because there's some contracts that are up with Boomer and Phil and Bill Cowher. So that could be another thing that changes for next year.
Yeah, that's what I was intimating about earlier. There were people suggesting that Romo is going to be thrown into the booth the same way they did Phil Simms when they decided to pull the trigger on him and not have him do the games anymore.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I got a question here from Cliff before we let you go, Dave, to see what Cliff's got. Dave, what are NFL plans to expand outside the USA? Now, I'm assuming that he's talking about, franchises outside the USA. Do you know anything about that you can share?
Not anything that hasn't been out there, but again, I go back to, they've done, and certain teams have really embraced, like the Kansas City Chiefs have embraced these international games and the opportunity to get their teams out in front of these other markets. It used to be the teams did not want to do that. They would think about the negatives of the travel, the disruption, taking away a home game in certain cases, right? All of those things that go into it. But again, I think it ties right back into the topic we started with. I think you'll see things pulled out as special broadcasts, right? The international series, as somebody mentioned this past week, could be something that gets rolled into a package. And you don't get the international game just because you're Fox and it's an NFC team. Those games are pulled out. They're up for bid. Who knows if they end up on one of the networks or if it ends up being a streaming property. So that could certainly be one of them. But I think the NFL is looking to grow always. And so while I have never really understood the idea of international expansion, because I just don't see how it works from a travel standpoint, at the same time, I'm of the opinion that because of gambling and because of the fact that if there's more games, there's more games to bet on, that the NFL is going to look for a lot of ways to grow and maybe have more games in not the too distant future. I think there's obviously some spots in the United States that they would go to, but it could very easily happen in certain cases where it's close to travel. And then, some people have said down the road, could there be a division that is played in Europe so that they're traveling, between themselves most of the time and then come over for certain parts, and the same thing for people going overseas from the United States. But again, my answer to the question is I think the NFL will look for any opportunity to grow, mostly because of the money that can then come in through broadcasting and through gambling.
Dave, you said you're from St. Louis. You lost your Rams, so I don't know who you follow now, but we are all Bears fans here, so I've got to ask the question, what's going to happen with my guy, Justin Fields?
Oh goodness. I listen to a lot of sports radio, and certainly see what the main topics are, in Chicago. Boy, it just seems to me, like it would be tough for them to come back, and that be their plan. It seems like if he was going to be the guy, there would be a lot more pumping him up, because his confidence obviously cannot be very high. It's going to be, it adds a lot of intrigue to a thing that has become incredibly important in the draft, and the storylines of the NFL as it relates to the coverage. We see obviously the coverage of the combine, and how some people get crazy into it, but boy, I just think it would be hard for them to stick with what has not worked.
Go ahead, Dan. Tell him how much he's wrong.
Well, I sent you that screenshot earlier if you wanted to juxtapose Lamar Jackson versus Justin Fields, which again, Lamar, someone's accepted as a great quarterback at this point, right?
That's right. This was on the ESPN show Get Up, and so it of course cherry picking some stats here, but when you compare them to the last 2 of the games with Lamar Jackson, there are some impressive stats here, including the rushing yards, of course, rushing touchdowns. So you got to account for that with Justin Fields, and his completion percentage isn't too far off. Yards per attempt, there's a 1 yard difference. It's not too bad. The feeling among Dave, Dan, myself, and probably half of the Bears fandom is that Justin is improving, and we're seeing signs of improvement. And so why not take the big haul of draft picks and really build around them an incredible infrastructure? And if you get more draft picks next year and this doesn't work with Justin, you could probably put together a package to move up higher in the draft, or you might get lucky and get the number 1 pick again, like they have now 2 years in a row, and pick another quarterback. It's like we're giving up maybe a year too soon on Justin. What are your thoughts on that?
Obviously there's recent examples in the National Football League of people trying to give up on folks, and some that have come back. Obviously your situation with Detroit and LA and swapping quarterbacks and Baker Mayfield. I'm certainly a believer in the fact that I don't think Justin is by any means as I don't want to say bad, but as the negativity towards him, it feels to me like there's other issues, right? There's other things that could be focused on in addition to his play, because you're only as good as the people around you. I'm a big believer in, let's talk about the offensive line before we get to anything else, because it has to be rock solid, or you're going to get your quarterback pressured, and your quarterback can't do as much if that quarterback is spending most of their time running away, from people. So it takes a lot. It takes in this day and age, you have to have all of the pieces. He takes a beating from my perspective for, mistakes made by probably a lot of different people.
Indeed. Dave, before you go, please let people where they can follow your work. Tell us a little bit about Barrett Sports Media. The stage is yours.
Appreciate it. No, if folks are interested in what is happening in the broadcasting business, and that's sports radio, that's sports television, and all of the digital content that's out there in the world of sports. BarrettSportsMedia.com, 2 R's, 2 T's. We put out a lot of information every day. There's 2 newsletters that come out each day, one at 8 o'clock in the morning, one at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that just give you the headlines of what's happening in the world of broadcasting and keeping up with stories in media. So BarrettSportsMedia.com, and we also have BarrettNewsMedia.com if you're interested in the news side of things as well. And again, radio, television, and digital content. So appreciate you guys having me on, and we are at your service if you want to talk media and broadcasting anytime.
We're going to bug you again, Dave. And by the way, you probably don't know this, but Dan Aguirre is a 5-time winner of the, West Virginia broadcaster?
I've won like 7 times, honestly. But no, it's just best sports on FM radio here in my state. But I've also won in Virginia as well. Not to talk on my own dick, but yeah.
Multi-state winner.
If you want to do a profile on Dan, just contact me.
No, I'm not worthy of that. I'm in a small pond, and that's okay.
You like it,
Dave?
Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you, Dave, very much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.
That is Dave Green from Barrett Sports Media. They run a nice website there. They cover a lot of the radio markets, and so they have polls every year on the top 10, big city radio sports shows, medium-sized, small markets, and both the Parkins and Spiegel show and the Waddle and Sylvie show are in the top 10 radio shows for big markets. What do you think of that, Dan Aguirre?
Yeah, I can see that. I love Tom Waddle. Sylvie, I'm so glad he got healthy and overcome the cancer and everything. And there's moments where I find him annoying, but there's, I respect him.
Absolutely.
And I don't really listen to the Spiegel show that much, but I'd rather listen to them than that fucking Bernstein,
I love it. Let's get back to Osama's question. How much can Fields actually improve in year 4? I don't think you got an opportunity to answer that.
Well, I would say to this gentleman, again, I've said this ad nauseum, but Justin was only 24, and he's going to keep getting better and better from my perspective. It is year 4, he'll be 25, and we have seen him play a little bit in his 3 seasons with the Bears against NFL competition, whether he's excelled or not. But we don't know anything about Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't seen him against the pros. So it's always a foregone conclusion that he's some huge upgrade. You never know if a great college player translates to the pros. So to me, I think it's a safer bet to stay with Justin, because we have seen him presumably at his worst and with room to grow. We don't know what we're getting with Caleb. This could be Johnny Manziel. This could be Ryan Leaf.
Yes, great point. And we all, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, Merrill Hodge made news over the internet with his critical comments about Caleb Williams. Well, he was recently on a show, on the Colin Cowherd show, and he echoed those, but he was a little bit more specific. He was concerned with Caleb Williams' pocket presence.
And so from a pocket presence perspective, he is not special. Now, his accuracy, again, elite. He's as elusive as Barry Sanders in some scenarios, more than Patrick Mahomes. That doesn't make him better than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's also a gift, but that might be the thing that hinders him more than anything, is him learning to manage that and only go to it later. Now, I don't expect him to do this right off the bat. That's going to be a development thing. And listen, those things I think you can coach. I don't think there's any doubt you can coach those, develop those, but then that relies on good coaching and the kid. The kid has to be in that. And then the mental toughness that he's going to have in this scenario, because what are the Bears? If the Bears get him, which I expect them to do, what is everybody going to say? We made up for our mistake. We got our Patrick Mahomes. We're not a playoff team. He's going to start right away. And that right there, those scenarios are completely different than what Patrick Mahomes experienced. Right. And those are arduous hurdles to overcome.
Yeah.
I take umbrage with Merrill Hodge showing his Pittsburgh Steeler helmet and him in the Steelers uniform. This man played 4 games or so with the Chicago Bears in 1994.
That's right.
Before suing the team. Before suing the team, by the way.
That's right.
Why not show Merrill in his Bears gear since he's talking Bears football?
That's right. He had 2 Steelers helmets and not an inkling whatsoever that he ever spent any time in Chicago.
Well, we need Merrill Hodge there hugging Wani in 94.
That's right. Or at least his medical report from his lawsuit with the Chicago Bears. I don't know.
Or maybe Tim Worley was still there too, another former Steeler who was a Bear for a little bit there.
Yeah. See, but that I think he brings up a good point. You know, given that Caleb and Justin are very similar quarterbacks, there's a really big chance that we would be basically starting the Justin Fields experiment from step 1 all over again. This guy is a playground quarterback. He's not proven as a pocket passer. You know, CJ Stroud had success in his rookie year with the Houston Texans because he immediately took to that timing passing game that the Texans had installed for him. It worked brilliantly for him because he's a true pocket passer, but Justin couldn't do it under Luke Getsy, and so now you're going to bring in another guy and another offensive coordinator and try to get him to do what Justin couldn't do and Patrick was not asked to do. That to me just doesn't make any sense, but you will see. Man, another comment about Caleb Williams is we were talking about Howard Cosell. Greg Cosell does a lot of work with ESPN and other places, I think the 33rd team, and he reviewed Caleb recently. This is what he has to say.
He's obviously a very good prospect, but I know there are many that you and I would respect that see him as the best quarterback prospect in years and years and years, and I'm not sure I would go that far in my mind based on my tape study. As I said, I think he's a very good prospect. But, he's also been sacked a ton. He's fumbled a ton. I think those are 2 things that would be concerning. Now, obviously, you have to look at every single sack. You have to look at every time he fumbled. You have to look at each individual play, which, if you're thinking about drafting him, I would expect that a team would be doing that. Yeah, you have to try to understand why those things happen. That those things are numbers on a page, and I've always sort of railed against the idea that numbers on a page tell you a story. But it is a high number, so you'd want to understand why by watching the tape. There are some who believe, and you probably have had these conversations through the years, there are some who believe that if a quarterback gets sacked a lot in college, and once you watch the tape, if you feel that he's a significant reason for that's not going to change. Now, again, no knock on Caleb Williams. I've done my work on him. As I said, I think he's a very good prospect. But I think that he's a guy that requires hard study and hard due diligence.
Does he remind you at all of Howard Cosell?
Is he related?
Yeah, that's his son.
Oh, I didn't know. I obviously didn't know. No, I don't know. The voice, the accent's not the same.
Yeah, it's not at all.
You can hear that little annoying pissant who was fired from Notre Dame, Jack Collinsworth. When you listen to Jack Collinsworth, you can hear Chris.
Yes.
I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I cannot hear Howard there, but the substance of what he was saying seemed to be there. The things you're concerned about, like the fumbling and the sacks, and I don't. My thesis with this gentleman, and I'm gonna buy his jersey fairly quickly, even though I spent $315 today getting my cat's teeth cleaned.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know, just the fucking teeth cleaning, man. Like, God.
How many cats was this? It wasn't just one.
No, it was just Nixon.
Oh, wow.
His last vet visit, they said he had some buildup. Yeah, he's giving us the V now. He was unhappy earlier. But my point is, though, I'm going to buy this kid's jersey if he's drafted and be rooting for him, but I just don't know why it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be great. And I hope he is if we get him. But I don't know why everyone just assumes that he's going to be better than Justin. I just don't understand that thinking. Like, there's no way to quantify that until he becomes a player in the league.
Chubbs is an asshole. It says it would cost $200 to put Nixon to sleep. What a terrible human being you are, Chubbs. Sounds like something Stephen Me would say.
He probably would.
Yeah, but
you like Justin Fields. I hate you and your pets now.
That's right. I hate you and Nixon. Oh, Lord. By the way, did I load this? Oh, darn. Yeah, I did. So we've got all this. I thought I did. Damn it. I'll load it during their state of affairs. We've got a lot of people disagreeing on the whole Caleb versus Justin. And I think it's healthy. It's just unfortunately people take it over the top. So I'm trying to find something that I put in regard that was favorable for Justin Fields, and I can't find it. But here is Ryan Poles talking to Stacey Dales of NFL Network. She did a really nice job of sequencing these questions, the 2 questions a minute long.
Your biggest takeaways from him this past season?
Yeah, I think.
Meaning biggest takeaways from Justin Fields this past season.
Your biggest takeaways from him this past season?
Yeah, I think he grew. What I really like about how he grew this year was I feel like the game slowed down for him. Not only was he able to be dynamic with his legs, he was starting to approach the line of scrimmage with his eyes up and finding explosives down the field, which makes it really difficult to handle Justin. Love his connection that he's had with DJ and Cole. The growth there has been outstanding. Obviously throws a beautiful deep ball. We saw those explosives throughout the year. Yeah.
In terms of this group of quarterbacks coming in, what's your assessment?
Yeah, a dynamic group, all different flavors in this draft. There's guys that have all the talent and tools in the world, and it's up to us as a scouting staff to kind of see, do they have enough, and what's the internal part? What's the drive that they have, the leadership? Because that's really, really important when you look at the history of quarterbacks. So it's a good group. So that's, again, it makes a very unique situation.
Something so.
It sounds like he's going to keep Justin, and then he starts talking about the prospects coming in. It sounds like Justin is out the door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Day by day, you're like, I feel like he's gone. And then Peter King, well, I've got hope again. And then, well, no, tomorrow, the Falcons thing with their coach, you're like, he's gone. He's gone. It's back and forth.
Well, the good news today, and I know that Tooch is going to cover this on his spare state of affairs, so I'll just tee it up for him. And Tooch, let me know when you're ready to rock and roll. The Jalen Johnson negotiations appear to be going very well, and it could be a week or so, maybe less than a week, before the announcement is made that Jalen Johnson has signed a big contract. I got a feeling that what they're hammering out is just the guaranteed dollars. I mean, you could sign for $200 million, but if only $10 million is guaranteed, then that doesn't mean shit. So I bet that's what they're negotiating here. But he sounded very, very positive about that. In fact, do I have him talking about that? No, I don't. But so I'm happy to hear that. If this team comes back with Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon as their 3 starting cornerbacks, holy shit, all we need is a safety. All we need is a safety for this defensive backfield, and good health for it to be one of the best in football, wouldn't you say?
I do. And I know Eddie's got a lot of partisans out there that seem to think that was a bad transaction. I feel like it was time for him to go. Mm-hmm. And so if you can get someone that can consistently stay healthy and make plays back there, it makes it a formidable secondary, to say the least. Mm-hmm. Again, if everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, Jojo Loco, Weather Girl.
It's Raining Men. He wants to hear It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls. Yeah, you're on mute. I will ask you this. Do you know any Weather Girl songs other than It's Raining Men? I do not.
I don't either. Can you hear me okay?
I can now.
Okay. No, I in fact, I don't even know that band.
That's the girl. It's Raining Men. Hallelujah. That's the Weather Girls.
Oh, okay.
That's why he said Weather Girl. Weather Girls, like, he's a fan of the Weather Girls. Okay. Yeah. It was a joke. I'm a radio guy, whatever.
I don't know. I feel like this team's defense is already near top 10, if not top 10. You make a couple of acquisitions, free agent, and in the draft, this will be a top 5 defense easily. Now, you give Justin Fields another weapon like a Marvin Harrison or Roma Dunze or Malik Neighbors.
And a center.
And then you also, another offensive weapon, then you also protect him and improve this line. Not only at the center position, but just get depth in case these two guards who always seem to be missing from games, you can put somebody in there as opposed to that guy with the mullet.
I think he's gone. Dan something.
Yeah, I'm glad he's gone. So, yeah, I mean, I think this team is close, and you can get there by not trading. You can get there faster by not trading Justin Fields. Anybody that believes that Caleb Williams is going to come in his first year and going to play to the level of C.J. Stroud that he did last year, I think you're going to be really disappointed by that.
Yeah, don't forget the kid in Carolina. It's like, for every C.J. Stroud, you've got the guy in Carolina. I can never remember his name. But,
Bryce Young.
Yeah, for every guy that hits it out of the park like Stroud, you've got Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like there's no way to project who's really going to be good and bad. You have to wait till they get in the league.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think George hits it on the nail here. It was McMahon with that great defense and all the weapons that he had, Walter Payton, Willie Gault, Dennis McKinnon.
I disagree.
Really?
Jim, I mean, you saw how he was slinging a rock at BYU, man. If he was at the team that threw the ball, like Jim could have been a prolific passer. I mean, to me, Jim was a good passer. He just was on a team that ran Walter. Here's Suey. And, okay, now throw the ball. I mean, especially early on, he wasn't really allowed to throw the ball that much until like 85.
No, I agree with you that he unfortunately had Mike Ditka's play calling and offense, and it didn't allow him to, give him an opportunity to put up BYU type numbers. Now, whether he would have or not, I don't know for sure. But
I mean, even Steve Young says McMahon taught him how to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. A fucking Hall of Famer. Again, I think Young was a little bit overrated. He had great players around him, and he didn't do shit in Tampa. I'm just saying, but I think Jim, if he was healthy, if Charles Martin doesn't, take him down in 86, and if he's with a passing team, he could have been really, really good in the pros too. He was good. Fuck, he won 28 straight starts. He won the fucking Super Bowl, man. Come on.
Sure fucking did. All right, we got a man by the name of John Santucci. He's a very handsome. Oh, look at that! I was saying he's a very handsome man, and he was making.
He colored his beard.
Yeah, my wife.
I could tell.
Yeah, I got a song for that too.
What song is that?
It goes like a good day go. Tooch dyes his hair.
Peyton Manning, you're not.
I really fell flat there.
Sort of did.
And my wife doesn't want to be married to some old geezer.
Oh, so she has you touching it up, huh?
Yeah, she loves doing my hair, my beard, all that stuff.
Did you hear that Matt Eberflus's? Did you hear that Matt Eberflus's wife had did his new look?
Oh, no.
The beard and stuff and his clothing? Yeah, she's responsible for that.
I'd say great minds think alike, but
Before you get into it, I'll tell you something that was a little disconcerting to me.
Okay.
New Year's Eve. I won't say her name. I did a lady, did some good things. And I looked down, she had a landing strip, and she was like 47. Mm-hmm. And part of her landing strip was going gray. And I thought, I was like, that's such a turnoff to me. I don't know why. Like, even if they had gray in their head, like, come on, man, your pussy hair's got to be dark. Who am I with here? Like, one of the Golden Girls? Okay, just go bald, then shave it bald.
That lady, the old lady from X, that movie, the horror movie, X.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, that is a good film. All right, Tooch, it is now your turn to turn on our followers with another one of your classic Bears State of Affairs.
All right, Bears State of Affairs. Yeah, there's not much going on. No, I'm just kidding. What's happening, Barflies? Yeah, it's Decision Gate. Yeah, we're in the middle of it, man. It overshadows and overpowers everything. It's all permeating. Decision Gate. What the hell are we going to do with the quarterback position? Yeah, well, there's always something going on with the Chicago Bears. Yep, we're smack dab in the middle of Decision Gate. From Stadium Gate to Decision Gate, fans have plenty of news to keep themselves occupied. Yeah, Decision Gate overshadows everything. It gives Bears fans worry pimples like Aldo and Tooch. We got Aldo and I both got pimples from Decision Gate.
Is that herpes?
No, these are sympathy pimples. Yeah, Decision Gate even overshadows the NFL scouting combine, where Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles returns to Indianapolis holding the number 1 overall pick for the second straight year, is strutting into town. Yeah, what's he going to do? Trade down, trade Justin Fields, keep that number 1 pick, and draft a quarterback. Who knows? Yeah, the debate rages on, but maybe not for too much longer. Yeah, Bears could have a decision regarding their quarterback situation as soon as this week at the 2024 NFL Combine. At last year's NFL Scouting Combine, Ryan Poles was such a focus of attention that he had to change hotels in order to avoid the crush of inquiries about the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Yeah, this week, Poles might also need to add a wig and dark glasses. He once again holds the number 1 overall pick via a trade last year with the Panthers. This year, the consensus top pick, USC's Caleb Williams, is regarded as a generational talent, so offers should be at a premium. During last year's combine, Poles and Scott Fitterer, then the Panthers GM, laid the groundwork for a blockbuster trade that took place 1 week after the combine. Chicago sent the top pick to Carolina for a package that included wide receiver DJ Moore and the Panthers' top pick this year. Fitterer, as you know, chose Bryce Young, who struggled as the Panthers went 3-14, setting up the Bears for the number 1 pick. For all his hard work, Fitterer was shown the door after the season. Regardless of Fitterer's story, NFL general managers are still looking to wheel and deal at the scouting combine, and they should find Ryan Poles to be a popular guy. Quote, with the first overall pick, everyone wants to talk, Poles said last March. Everyone wants to try to get an idea of what we're trying to do. Like the Bears this year, the Houston Texans had 2 first-round picks last year, using their own pick at number 2 on C.J. Stroud and trading back into the first round on the very next pick to select defensive end Will Anderson at 3rd overall. Quote, when I knew we had the ability to trade and get Will Anderson along with C.J., it was okay, it's on, Texas coach DeMeco Ryans told ESPN in January. Quote, you don't always get the top guys that you want. So for us to get 2 top guys we wanted at 2 key positions, a quarterback and defensive end, that was the start. And the Texans went from a 3-13 finish in 2022 to first place in the AFC South with a 10-17 record in 2023. Stroud and Anderson took home offensive and defensive rookie of the year honors respectively and helped the Texans win their first playoff game since 2019. With 2 picks inside the top 10 of the 2024 NFL draft, could the Bears pull off a draft coup similar to Houston's? Could the Bears be one of those worst to first teams next season? The Bears, along with the Arizona Cardinals, are one of only 2 teams with multiple first-round picks in this year's draft. And the Bears have not selected 2 players in the first round of the draft since 2003, when they drafted defensive end Michael Haynes at 14 and quarterback Rex Grossman at 22. I think the Bears have a great opportunity to get a franchise quarterback and then a game-changing wide receiver to pair him with and stay young and cheap on the offensive line, said Matt Miller. The NFL scout also said the Bears could handle their 9th overall pick in several different ways, including drafting a wide receiver or offensive lineman. Where the Bears decide to spend in free agency could also determine their plans for the 9th overall pick. A loaded free agent crop of pass rushers from the Minnesota Vikings, Danielle Hunter, to the Panthers, Brian Burns, the Jaguars, Josh Allen, and the Jets, Bryce Huff, could lead the Bears to target pass rush help next month in free agency instead of at the number 9 overall pick. But before getting to that number 9 pick, the Bears really have to decide what to do with quarterback Justin Fields. Recently on the St. Brown Brothers podcast, Fields has repeated his desire to remain in Chicago, but said that he hopes to know where he'll be playing sooner rather than later. Quote, "I just want it to be over," said Fields. I know how you feel, buddy. Fields isn't the only one who wants this process to be over. Quote, "I would love to know as soon as possible," Ryan Poles said about the quarterback deadline. It's only his job. Although, as Ryan Poles and head coach Matt Eberflus addressed the media today in a press conference from Indianapolis, Poles noted that the goal is to have a quarterback 1 in place before the start of free agency. While there's no timeline for a decision, Poles did indicate that there's a timeline goal for that decision, whatever that means. Though he did not specify what that goal was today. Adding more fuel to the fire, Poles said there are still 100 different scenarios for what the Bears could do with the 1st overall pick and the current quarterback situation. That doesn't help at all, although it doesn't help decision Kate. All right. Also, when asked today what he's looking for in the Bears franchise quarterback, Bears head coach Matt Eberflus said today that he wants a quarterback who plays his best football in crunch time. In the 4th quarter, he said, Coach Eberflus, as a Bears fan, I would like a coach who doesn't blow 4th quarter leads. But, with Bears fans, we're used to never getting what we want. Yeah. Well, it doesn't necessarily sound like Justin Fields, who has not been great in late game situations in his career. Eberflus said the Bears may still have Fields penciled in as their starter. When I said decision gate was big, I wasn't kidding. It's downright nationwide. In fact, one legendary NFL sports writer who's getting set to retire couldn't help but throw more gas on the decision gate fire.
I'm crying.
After reflecting on his legendary 44-year career in sports media, Peter King just couldn't help himself. He had to chime in on the situation. Quote, "I suppose the Bears are going to trade the top pick," wrote King. "I know nothing." What is he, like Sergeant Schultz? I know nothing, but that seems to be the way the wind is blowing. What I say, the Bears could keep Justin Fields and should, and trade the 1st pick down once or twice and build the kind of supporting cast a team needs to contend. King made it clear that this was purely his own speculation, and it's worth noting that his prediction goes against the dominant belief among insiders that the Bears will draft USC quarterback Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick and trade Justin Fields. By trading the 1st pick, general manager Ryan Poles could receive a haul that puts the Bears in position to contend sooner rather than later. That notion might outweigh the hype around Williams, according to King. Though King may not know for sure, he's been connected with this current Bears regime. He had an exclusive interview with general manager Ryan Poles during last year's combine, where it became clear the 2023 number 0 overall pick was for sale. And clouding the waters even further, on the Hodge and Johns podcast, Adam Johns and Kevin Fishbane hosted a unique guest who had an inside look at Caleb Williams for the last couple of years. The Athletics USC columnist Antonio Morales joined the show to talk about Williams and his jump to the NFL. The topic of Caleb Williams' leadership was brought up, and Morales said a few things that might strike fear into all Bears fans' hearts. Caleb Williams' leadership is a massive question mark heading into the NFL and possibly with the Bears. Quote, "That's a narrative where he'll have to get better as well," said Morales. "Is he a natural leader?" Johns asked. Quote, "I think that's a big question," Morales answered. Yes, Decision Gate has Bears fans' heads spinning, especially on X, where I will endeavor to show one post a week that shows how DecisionGate is affecting the average Bears fan.
Cool.
This week, some Bears fans have taken to locking their relatives in cages. Yeah.
I saw that.
Until the Bears quarterback question is settled. Poor me, Ma.
I forgot her name. Anyways, what's her name?
Poor Grandma Braggs. Will it be Justin Fields or Caleb Williams? The Bears fans are worried the team will repeat the Bears cycle. Oh, here we are, Aldo. I finally made it.
Oh my gosh! There you
Bears
go.
Cycle 2. We've got Bears fans have multiple cycles.
Mm-hmm. I had a girlfriend like that.
All right, draft a first-round quarterback. Fire GM and coaches after a losing season. Hire a new GM and head coach with no experience. And then give up on first-round quarterback and right back to drafting a first-round quarterback all over it again, man.
Brilliant.
Yep. And we still have to sign Jalen Johnson, and that's Bears State of Affairs.
Yeah.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we going to do now? What are we going to do?
Oh, that was outstanding. Outstanding.
I start getting a little teary when I'm laughing hard.
I noticed that. You had a tear under your left eye for a couple of minutes.
The older I get, the more jolly I get, Aldo.
And less gray, according to what I'm looking at now.
Yeah, I'm like 10 years younger.
Yeah,
I'm like Dan McGuire's age now.
You do look like you can get back into the porn business. There's no doubt about it.
Back in there, ready to get back on the horse.
You know, your state of affairs are so good that even the two presidential candidates wanted to weigh in.
Caleb Williams supporters are poisoning the blood of Bears fandom. That's what people are saying.
Caleb Williams will be the Bears pick. He's going to be better than Obama. That's no joke.
Bears need to protect Justin Fields, draft an offensive line, build a wall, and have Mexico pay for it.
Listen, and this isn't hyperbole. Williams will be the best quarterback of all time. I mean it.
Nobody knows more about football than I do, and you all know it. Keep Fields. Don't fuck it around.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Oh, man. So, that's all the politics we're going to cover tonight. From now on, when we talk about those guys, it's going to be in the context of Chicago Bears.
When I said DecisionGate was big, Aldo, it's nationwide. Nationwide.
Indeed.
I wasn't kidding, man.
Good stuff. All right. So I wanted to play for you Matt Eberflus talking about the wiring of a quarterback.
Yeah, the wiring of a quarterback obviously is number one is leadership. You know, you have to be a great leader. You got to be resilient. You got to be able to handle criticism. You know, and then obviously the physical traits. You know, that's a big part of it. You know the accuracy, the timing, the platform, all the things you talk about with that, and then being a winner. You know, that's what it comes down to. All these teams that do things at the end of the season, they have winners at the quarterback spot.
Well, and it's interesting that, you know, both he and Poles were talking about accuracy and timing. There's no doubt about it. Caleb Williams, in my mind anyway, is a more accurate quarterback than Justin Fields. But in terms of timing, I don't think Caleb is any better than Justin is at this point in their careers. And maybe Caleb will get better, but that raises that other question that Flus said is, you know, are they going to accept coaching? Are they going to be good teammates? Are they going to be good leaders? Those are all the questions surrounding Caleb Williams right now. I don't know, guys. Like you said, I can't wait for this fucking thing to be over.
Oh, man, I don't envy Ryan Poles, man. I'll tell you that. Whatever he does, you know. But you know, I did write down some stuff in my notes about like what a Justin Fields contract would look like if we have to if we have to sign him, to long term,
right?
Because
he's like $6 million this season, but then if they pick up the fifth-year option, it'll go up to over $20 million. Now they can not pick up the fifth-year option and then just negotiate a new contract with him if they feel like his 2024 season established him as a good quarterback, a franchise-type quarterback.
Yeah, $25.6 million price tag for his fifth-year option. So that means he's set to make $7.1 million in next season, 2024. I think I'm not sure exactly, but if it's a rookie quarterback, the first 3 years of the rookie quarterback would be around the same, like $26.5 million, but that's for 3 years on a rookie deal.
Right.
If you had to sign a contract, Fields to a multi-million-dollar contract, you're looking at 40 to 50 million.
Yeah.
Which would prohibit the Bears from, signing all the free agents that they want, in order to compete in the playoffs and possibly get to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Dan, you could have told us that you need to go shit again. He sent me a private message. You'll be.
Yep,
it's okay. We got no secrets here from our followers. You gotta take a shit. Go take a shit.
Nothing like
pure water. It's like someone turned on the faucet, except it's shit water.
I was there recently, brother. I know how it feels.
It's like when I had E. coli from swimming in the Iowa River.
Really? That happened to you?
Yeah.
Or like Aldo was in a certain former ladies' hotel room.
Little snakes were coming out.
Snakes were loose.
I flushed, and all of a sudden, the water is all over. The water and the snakes are all over the place.
Nothing like a West Virginia Asian buffet, huh, Dan?
Can you take the microphone into the toilet with you, Dan? That would be great.
Patrick Mahomes' largest quarterback contract in history is $450 million. A $283 million contract estimated for Fields. That'd be the second largest in the history. Joe Burrow's was $275 million. Aldo, what do you think? Per year, what would it take for the Bears to re-up with Justin Fields? If they see improvement, that's what I was trying to get out of Greg Gabriel a little bit today. If they see enough improvement, and they want to pick up that fifth-year option, that's 25 mil. If they want to sign him past that, 40 mil.
Well, the Jordan Love contract is, I think, the model that the Bears are trying to follow right now. I think they signed them to a 2-year deal, kind of a prove-it deal. And so let's say in 2024, Fields is the quarterback for the Chicago Bears, and now he's got DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, he's got Marvin Harrison or Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors as the receiver opposite DJ Moore. He's got a good running back. We've made some improvements to the offensive line. He should easily throw for 3,500 yards. He should throw for 30 touchdowns, and
barring injury.
Right, of course. And he should keep his interceptions in the single digits, 9, 8, 7, something like that. If he does that, then I think $35 million is a good, and you negotiate with him and say, this is, a 2-year deal. And then after those 2 years, if you continue at this pace, you're going to fucking break the bank and be the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. I think Justin would do that. One of the things that Ryan Poles said today that really struck me is that he talked about his relationship with these players, with Jalen Johnson, and there's trust now in the negotiations. And I think he would have that same kind of trust with Justin. And he talked about transparency, how he invited Justin Fields into the draft room last year to explain to him why they didn't draft the wide receiver, because this is how the board fell and stuff. And so if they are totally
can't have liked that.
No, he didn't like it, but at least he had the rationale, right? He had the rationale as to why.
It's like, dude, why are you fucking showing me this?
And check it out. Adam Mason is a guy I got to check out. I guess he's on the Nomad Network. He's suggesting that the NFL cap is going to go up $40 million, and he was correct about it going up $40 million in 2024. So that's all good news. The money should be there to pay Justin Fields. You just don't want to get stuck into a contract like the Giants did with Daniel Jones, right? You don't want to get, now they're thinking about maybe drafting a quarterback, despite the fact that they owe Daniel Jones about $100 million, I believe. So yeah, Ravi was on it, was better and considered a bust. Daniel Jones was. So, it's a tricky situation, but I like what Poles is doing is that he's trying to establish relationships with players to get them to, understand the economics, understand why they're making these player personnel decisions and so forth. And if he is successful at not letting Jalen Johnson get away and putting him under contract, he should be able to do the same thing with Justin Fields, a fair contract for both parties. What do you think?
He doesn't like Justin Fields, does he?
I don't think last.
I get the feeling he doesn't like Justin Fields, Aldo. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. Holy shit, man. Dan sent me a picture of, oh, wow, that's like a fucking...
Don't share that with me.
Let's just say that is some pretty ugly shit,
Man, I wonder if Dan had like some performance issues, with his girlfriend and the diarrhea.
Oh wow, we'll have to ask him that when he gets back.
Take our minds off of Decision Gate.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if he's willing to share this, but Dan McGuire's in love. It's a wonderful thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe we'll ask him about that when he comes back. I told him, bring her on the show. We want to meet her. She already gets my approval, and not that that's needed, but the fact that she's just willing to listen to Dan talk about the 85 Bears over and over and over again. She's a winner.
There's good arguments on both sides of this issue, whether resetting at the clock or trying to sign Justin Fields to a club-friendly deal. I think reading between the lines, the right question we should be asking. I feel like Danvers. We have to ask the right questions. Like how far away are the Bears from competing in the playoffs? That's really the question. 1 year, 2 years. This coming year. They're definitely, the arrow is pointing up.
That's a great point, Tooch. So are you willing to take the chance that a rookie quarterback that can take you to the playoffs when, if you get these improvements on the offense, weapons for Fields, and improvements on the defense, you should be able, in this year 3 of the Ryan Post rebuild, you should be able to get to the playoffs. Maybe not be a Super Bowl team, but definitely get to the playoffs. And can you answer affirmatively that would happen if you pick Caleb Williams or devote a first-round draft pick to the quarterback, no matter whether it's Caleb or Drake or whoever?
Yeah.
Great point.
Like Cliff says, there's points in favor of both.
Yes, absolutely.
Resetting. I mean, the thing is, like, resetting with a rookie, a rookie's got to learn all those rookies, got to go through all the rookie mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to go through reading the defense, NFL defenses, because I guarantee you, whether it's Caleb Mays or Caleb Williams and Drake May or anybody, they haven't seen NFL defenses or coverages, disguised coverages. There's going to be wrinkles that they're not prepared for.
Yeah. And Keith says JF1 should have got us there last year. But the thing is, Keith, answering me this question, how much blame do you put on Luke Getsy's offense for the offense's performance in 2023? And, I think, a lot of us are maybe putting too much blame on Justin Fields for the offense's performance. Now, again, he did some really stupid things, Justin Fields did. There's no doubt about it. I showed video earlier in the show about a really stupid play that he did. But you got to just believe that the guy is smart enough and athletic enough and a competitor enough that those mistakes are going to start to dwindle, and that there should be more positive plays than negative plays.
Yeah, I read a blip recently about Jaden Daniels, who's considered, I guess, one of the top quarterbacks, or number 3, maybe even number 1.
A lot of people are saying yes.
The LSU core. I like him a lot too, but I mean, he did have 2 NFL, wide receivers he threw to. The two LSU guys would probably be going in the first round. But,
absolutely.
They said the LSU coach, which I think is Brian Kelly,
right, from Notre Dame, formerly of Notre Dame.
That was good. Whether it's Brian or Kelly, whatever. Brian Kelly said they had to alter the team guidelines or rules because for the hours that they could be at the facility to practice, because he was coming in at 5 a.m. in the morning to watch film, and he wouldn't leave until 7 p.m. at night. That's how hard the kid was working. So that's one thing I read Brian Kelly had said about Jaden Daniels.
He's another quarterback who I think would really benefit from going to a good team where he could sit a year, or a team that is close to winning but can still sit a year. Plus, he's got to develop an NFL body. The guy is a string bean. I've seen some video of him taking hits. It's not a pretty sight. And so he needs to develop that body, like Bryce Young needs to develop his too. I think that, as the season wore on for the Panthers, I think we started to see a quarterback who was like, I don't want to get hit anymore, please. Yeah, I agree with Sanders. Both Daniels and Caleb need to sit a year, definitely.
Yeah,
but you're not going to draft, any one of those quarterbacks and keep Fields. Don't you think that's a mistake?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that question. I mean, it's certainly possible that the Bears could draft a quarterback and say, well, you know what, sit behind Justin Fields for a season and, learn and stuff. And I mean, this is going to make the Tyson Bagent fans in the chat room unhappy, Dan. It's an unhappy opinion, because they're in there. They're calling for Tyson Bagent, but it's certainly possible that they could draft let's say number 1 overall, they trade down 1 2. They let Caleb Williams and Drake May go and pick up a bunch of draft picks. Then they pick Marvin Harrison Jr. And at 9, they pick Jaden Daniels, or they trade up to 5 and pick Jaden Daniels, just like the Texans did in State of Affairs. They traded right back in to the first round and took Will Anderson. Both those guys, offensive and defensive rookies of the year. But I think they could. Certainly if Fields doesn't work out, hedge their bets.
Indeed. Dan Aguirre, do you remember a time?
Back?
Yeah, he's back. Right, Dan?
I'm here. I'm going to have a prolapsed asshole if I keep this pace up shitting.
I know that feeling.
So that's 8 or 9 times today, Dan?
Oh, my God.
Yep.
What are you drinking right now?
A protein shake.
Okay.
Yeah, I need some Gatorade, but I didn't have time to stop. But I did all that fucking this morning, and then all I've done is shit my brains out since all that ended. Thankfully, that wasn't during that.
Right. Aldo and I were wondering that if there were some performance issues.
No, she was gone, thankfully, when all the shitting had begun.
Did she stick her finger up your ass or something like that?
Nope. I'm comfortable in my own skin, but I'm not a big butt guy for me. Like my butt's okay alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I just think about that and I ejaculate. I think most people know the story. That happened to be once my first wife. I was always, pressuring her. Come on, let's do it from behind. Let's do it from behind. And so one day we're doing it missionary style, and all of a sudden I feel this finger up my ass.
And you came immediately.
Immediately. I told her, never again. Don't do that ever again, and I'll never bring it up. Never.
Off topic for just a moment.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a legitimate shot to get Mrs. Gandia to attend a Bears game? Is that real?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, this girl says prolapse butthole is my biggest fear. It is for most men. Absolutely. She, she and I have gone to, I think, maybe 3 Bears games. So she'd be into it. Absolutely.
All right.
So as soon as the schedule comes out, we'll start talking about that.
She seems like more of a Blackhawks fan, though. You know,
she definitely is a hockey fan first and foremost. Joe Mandel and took our wives. Joe Mandel and myself took our wives to the Notre Dame hockey game, and she had a blast there. And so, but a Blackhawks game, I'm already looking for tickets for.
Don't pretend like you don't know, Mr. Shorty.
Come on, Mr. Shorty. I'm sure
Tooch is on video with his like that, I think, on some of his porns.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Look, I like Tyson Bagent. Let's just say that, like, my
good segue. He just said with a straight face, "Yeah, I like Tyson Bagent." I'm comparing it to a prolapse test, but okay.
If let's say the Bears draft someone like Jaden Daniels and keep Justin Fields, what happens to Tyson Bagent, man? He doesn't make the roster.
No, he'll make the roster, but the thing is, he will be in danger of being picked up by another team, and he probably will be.
They'll cut him and try and re-sign him to the practice squad.
Yeah, they'll do that whole thing, But
make him the last man on the roster where he could be activated in case of emergency.
Emergency quarterback.
Yeah.
Last says I should get my wife a number 13 jersey.
Tyler Scott? They want you to get a Tyler Scott jersey?
That's right. Tyler's going to be
he doesn't want to
auctioning
wear number 13 anymore, though. I thought he said.
Really? I hadn't heard that. But I wanted to ask Dan this question. In all of your years, of studying the Chicago Bears and their history, do you remember a time where we had this quarterback conundrum quite the way we do this season, Dan?
No, I mean, there was like at the time, it seemed like a big deal. Like, is it going to be Kramer or Walsh in 95? Because Walsh won 8 games in 94, but it was nothing on this level.
What about Orton and Grossman?
Nothing on this level. I mean, nothing compared to this. Or Brian Greasy, for that matter. People always forget Greasy in that scenario.
What about Tom, Zach, and Flutie?
But Doug was only there a couple of games at the end of 86, and by 87, he's cut.
Right. I'm saying in that portion of the season where Ditka signs him and.
Or what about Steve Fuller? Right. Steve Fuller's there too.
Yeah.
And Steve Fuller had won a playoff game for you in 84.
Right.
Ditka went and brought him to the Bears, right?
Right.
Yeah, he traded a 3rd-round pick for him, right?
Correct. But Flutie got the call, and that pissed off a lot of players and and then he has Flutie over for dinner, and McManus saying, "Motherfucker never invited me to dinner at his house."
They ordered pizzas, and then they had a little tiny personal pizza with number 2 Doug Flutie on it. He wasn't even allowed one of the
in this scenario.
The rest of the Bears players.
In this scenario is Caleb Williams, Doug Flutie, and Justin Fields. Any of those other Bear quarterbacks, whether it be McMahon, Fuller, or Tom Zach.
Stop, everybody. There's some troll in the chat room, too. I assume he's trolling, right? I guess he's not. It's like, Stephen, he's so in love with Tyson Bagent. We like Tyson Bagent, man. I don't know.
We've drifted from reality?
I'm not sure he has an NFL arm, man.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by that. Is he referring to the chat?
He said because we're talking about he's a huge Bagent fan. He says so much ignorance on Bagent. Is he trolling, or is this like
he's saying Bagent getting cut might be the stupidest thing I've heard all year? I still can't get over that. Well, Stephen, he's not saying he's going to get cut.
I just posed a hypothetical situation where if the Bears have Fields and Caleb Williams, man, Bagent ain't making the fucking team, man, unless he's the emergency quarterback.
Yeah, but I think the 3 of us agree, Tooch and Dan and myself, that we
I love Tyson Bagent. Yeah,
I'd love to keep him on the roster and develop him.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough to know whether he's good or not.
Mm-hmm. Last says Justin Fields is the 32nd ranked fourth quarter quarterback. That is less to do about coaching than it does talent.
Is it though?
I would agree with Last, but it is close because things that Getsy did with the play calling. I think everyone, it's amazing that he got this job with the Raiders, but everyone that knows a little bit about play calling knows that the sequencing of his play calls didn't do Justin Fields and the Bears offense any favors. But you are right that Justin Fields doesn't have a good record in fourth quarter games. You can blame it on whoever, but when he the one game that he wins in the fourth quarter, he fumbles on 2 drives in the fourth quarter where that could have made it much less dramatic. But he hit DJ Moore with a 25, 30-yard pass over the middle. What game was that? Who did he play?
Minnesota,
right.
Up there.
Right. And so they win it. And so that to me, is basically Justin Fields in a nutshell. He frustrates the fuck out of you, but every once in a while he makes these wild plays. And so I'm betting that he can become better at making these wild plays more consistently if you give him more weapons and a better play call.
I'll throw you another scenario, not to veer off of that, but to go back where maybe Bajit wouldn't be here, hypothetically. Let's say they do draft Caleb Williams. And I'm just, again, spitballing here, but Garoppolo's likely to get cut. I saw he's going to be suspended 2 games. He's from Illinois, as you know. Maybe you sign someone like Jimmy G to be like, okay, just in case this kid implodes or just in case he gets hurt, you got a guy that's led a team to a Super Bowl. I mean, would you rather have Jimmy G or Tyson Bagent as your backup? I'm just saying.
That's Mike North's contention. He's saying sign Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins to a 1-year deal. Let them be the quarterback for 2024, and then bring in Caleb or whoever your rookie quarterback is that you've drafted this season.
Imagine how wet those Bears girls would be if Jimmy G were here. Shout out to Heidi. Heidi loves Jimmy G and Cole Kmet, as we know.
Ay, Dios mío.
And Santos.
And Santos, that's right. Oh my gosh, absolutely.
We don't give a fuck.
Yes.
That's not true, though. I think he does give a fuck.
I don't like the idea of bringing in one of these veteran quarterbacks. I don't know why, but it's not fair to Caleb to just thrust him in there before he's really ready. So maybe that is the best plan. Russell Wilson can be had for a couple of $1 million because Denver is picking up the $30-some million on his contract. So maybe Russell Wilson, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe who's the third guy that's out there? Kirk Cousins. Right.
I mean, Russell Wilson worked with Shane Waldron in Seattle, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Russell seems like a big me guy, though.
Yes.
Not a team guy. He's really, it's like he thinks he and Sierra are like JFK and Jackie Onassis, and he's a fucking diva. And I'd rather be dead than Andy Dalton come back. Let me just say that.
This is another question. I know. I was listening to part of the show. I was trying to get stuff done around here before I came on, but whether or not you throw a rookie in there, or if I forget which clip it was, throw or let him sit. Two different situations. Do you throw the rookie in there, or let him sit behind us? That's, the Packers let, Rodgers sit, they let Love sit, Patrick Mahomes even sat for a year. It's, it seems to be a precursor to success. What do you think?
We tried that before. With Fields, we had Andy Dalton, and with Mike Glennon with Mitch. And the veterans just blew ass, so we had to play the rookies.
Right. The other teams had good quarterbacks, though. That's the, Alex Smith was ahead of, Rodgers and Favre, ahead of the Love and Rodgers, respectively.
I personally think that, the approach of bringing in a veteran and having your rookie sit, basically – we've done that with Justin Fields, except that he didn't sit. He's been playing and getting the experience. And now when it appears like he's on the cusp of playing at a high level, we're getting rid of him. And maybe I have too much confidence in how he's played and whether he's going to improve on his 2023 season. Maybe I do, but that's how I feel right now.
Well, my scenario wasn't to start the veteran. Like I said, you could bring in Garoppolo, who's going to be suspended 2 games anyway, I think, for performance-enhancing shit. But maybe you start Caleb, and in the event he gets injured, or in the event he really struggles because he's a rookie, you got Jimmy G back there as a hypothetical guy's led a team to a Super Bowl who's likely going to be cut, and he's from Illinois, so maybe it's a fit there, you know, because if you bring Russell in, Russell's going to want to start. At this point, Garoppolo's probably going to be happy to be on a fucking team. And probably more content being a backup than Russell is.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's some great comments in the chat room aside from the Bajent guy, but there's some good comments in here, man. It's like, look here, Waldron's an upgrade over Getsy. I know we had some people in there say, how's it Getsy's fault that Justin couldn't see the open guys? Dude, we posted plays on here, tape of every single Bears receiver in a 5-yard radius, you know, completely covered with the rest of the field. No Bears receivers for Fields to throw to. So that's how Getsy sabotaged 6 quarterbacks.
Yeah. And there were times, of course, that the Fields missed open receivers, but watch Draft on Tap. Danny Shipman is going to break down some tape of Caleb Williams. He sent me some clips, and it's like wide open guy down the middle of the field. And Caleb Williams, it's just, instead of taking a 20-yard completion down the middle of the field, he's throwing it 40 yards downfield because he's got this big play mentality all the time. He wants to make this big play. He's got to run around like in the schoolyard quarterback, and he's not, playing on time and stuff. So, those quarterbacks who are so quick to get outside the pocket, they are going to miss open guys because they're not going through their progressions and they're not anticipating and so forth. And I think that at this point, Justin is ready to hopefully improve with listening to a different voice and a different scheme from Shane Waldron. But again, it's just all speculation.
We don't think like Justin Fields is perfect. I know that's what everyone is in here. Like, we know that he has to get better. There wouldn't be any decision gate if he was playing like fucking Mahomes. There wouldn't be a decision gate, right? I mean, if Fields, this is the whole thing. But if we keep Fields, let's put into context the first couple of years. He had Matt Nagy, a lame duck coach. The next year it was a tank year, and the tank year we needed because look at all the picks we're getting. We could have we had a haul last year, which gave us the haul for this year. We had to tank one season. We had to. It was that roster was garbage.
Exactly.
That
was all part of the plan,
and all part of the plan. Break it down.
I don't think Fields should be the scapegoat on
definitely
this.
No.
Yeah.
And then
unless you're absolutely fucking sure. If Caleb Williams, who's probably doing his interview with the Bears tomorrow, if he comes in that interview and says, guys, I really want to play for you, and I'm going to show you what I can do with my leadership. I'm going to talk to players. I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden, they're just wowed by that. Then fuck it. Yeah, bring Caleb Williams in. Yeah. I'll buy a fucking jersey. But is he going to do that? I don't know. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's a great question because he could come in and just come in and blow the Bears away, and then you have Drake May too, who if Poles takes him, it's just he drafted Trubisky again,
Exactly. I'll tell you one thing. I saw this video. I meant to include a clip. I forgot to pull it. He's on this Josh Norris podcast on YouTube. And he's there with Colt McCoy. So it's Norris, Drake May, and Colt McCoy. And they're looking at some plays and diagramming the all-22 and so forth. And when Drake May was talking about the play and what his job was and reading the defense and so forth, he sounded like he was a fucking coaching professor. He was so good. The total opposite of Mitch Trubisky when he was on with John Gruden, and John Gruden is saying a hard count. You can do a hard count. Yeah, what's a fucking hard count? Said Trubisky. Total difference. So I don't think Drake May is Mitch Trubisky. I think he's much better prepared for an NFL career than Mitch was.
Right.
That's
but I mean, it's he drafted number 2 overall. He wore 10, and he went to North Carolina. It's like
I hear you. I know what you're saying.
You get much closer to home, although.
Vizzo Joe says, did Tooch say Caleb is going to blow the Bears?
I might have. I say some crazy things on here, Vizzo Joe.
Yeah. Anything else that was discussed today by the coaches, or excuse me, the head coach and the general manager that you want to comment on? We talked a little bit about Jalen Johnson. It looks like he's a done deal. Matt Eberflus was asked about the safety position. I do have that clip here. Yeah. Let's take a listen to Eberflus talking about what he wants to see out of the replacement for Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, you're looking for a guy that pairs well with him. Jaquan is the guy that's a strong safety. He comes down, mans tight ends. He's a big hammer. The guy that we'll be looking for has got to have athletic ability. He's got to have range. He's got to have great communication skills. And he's got to have ball skills. We want all of our guys to have the ability to take the ball away, and he has to have that too. And then eventually grow into a leader. If it's a free agent, he's going to have to feel the temperature of the room and dive into the leadership role. And if it's a rookie, he's going to have to develop that with the other guys.
To me,
he needs some beard color, although.
What's the name of the product you're using?
I don't know. My wife bought it. Like, we're doing your beard color Sunday morning.
I might
don't shower yet. You gotta give you a beard color.
That's funny. But it sounds to me like he's describing a veteran. I mean, he did mention, if it's a rookie, he's going to have to grow into the role and so forth. But I got a feeling they might look at veteran safeties. They're usually fairly inexpensive. I
had free agents out there this year.
Yeah, I had the list. But I wouldn't mind a Tyler Nubin, the kid out of Minnesota. I saw him play 2 or 3 games. I was super impressed with his ball hawking skills. Cam Kitchens from one of the Florida schools.
Miami.
Talk about playing center field. That guy covers some ground.
Probably the top. Him and Nubin, the top 2.
Without a doubt. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. But then again, you got pass rusher needs. You got the. Oh, by the way, did you guys hear that Mel Kiper recommended the Bears should draft Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia, with the number 9 position? He said whoever the quarterback is, they will be thanking the Bears forever because this guy is such a weapon. They can play him at any position, in the backfield, in the slot, out wide, in line, and you can do so many creative things. Mel Kiper was the Bear. If Bowers is there at 9, Bowers is the tight end out of Georgia, and you got to take him. Boy, it impressed me when he said it. I love Mel Kiper. You guys are fans of Mel Kiper?
He's all right.
I still remember 94, man, when he was yelling at the Colts for not drafting Trent Dilfer because they had Harbaugh.
Yes.
And the Colts he's like, who the hell is Mel Kiper anyway?
Yeah, that was Vince Tobin's brother, Bill Tobin. He was the GM, I want to say, for the Colts. And that was a great TV moment.
And Harbaugh led them to the AFC Championship the very next year.
Mm-hmm.
One play away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Bowers is like like H-back 6'1". I think he's maybe 6'2".
Well, and the website says he's 6'5", and when that photograph that I posted with him and Gronkowski, he looks like he could be Gronkowski's son.
Didn't we say that about Adam Shaheen? He was baby Gronk.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we didn't say that, but
yeah, that's right. But this guy played at Georgia, high level competition. But I am concerned about drafting a tight end that, what happened with this Kyle Pitts guy from Atlanta Falcons? They took him at like 4 or 5. And the guy hasn't done shit in Atlanta. So tight ends take a while to develop. Bowers is unguardable.
It's like Travis Kelce.
Yeah, he is like Travis Kelce. He also kind of reminds me that he could have the type of impact of a Christian McCaffrey. Now, I know they play 2 separate positions, but in terms of how they're used, moving them all over the place and creating mismatches and stuff, Bowers is intriguing, like McCaffrey to me is intriguing. But
yeah,
tight end.
He in the Super Bowl, I watched Travis Kelce at the Super Bowl, man. When he lined up on the line, man, he put a move on somebody, man. It was like shaked him right out of his jock strap, and he was gone. That was like the big play of the game, man. The move he put on the shake and bake he put on the line against whoever was covering him in the Super Bowl, man. Yeah. And it would be something if the Chiefs got Brock Bowers, they just continued on. Kelce retires and the Chiefs keep going with Bowers, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, look what Kelce does for Mahomes. Without Kelce, the Chiefs don't play as well.
Absolutely, especially with their lack of wide receivers on that team. No doubt about it. Yeah, I expect the Chiefs to probably trade up for Bowers, and he'll be the greatest tight end in the history of the game.
And we really need to find out what the Bears are going to do in free agency before we, really, have at least some kind of picture of what they're going to do in the draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that'll be all coming up pretty soon. So it's all, talk about speculation. This is really big speculation, but it was an exciting day at the Combine listening to polls. And you turn on all the national sports show, that's their lead story. What's going to happen with Justin Fields? What's Ryan Poles going to do? Ryan Poles is in control of the NFL draft. I love it. I totally love it. I love all the attention. Let's, in these last 20 minutes or so, guys, have you seen anything on the tube, streaming, at the theater that you want to share with us? I'll start with you, Dan. I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, Dan's been really quiet tonight.
Oh, well, I've been shitting. I showed my girlfriend Poor Things today. Poor Things debuted on streaming today. If you I give it 4 stars. She really dug it too.
Where can we watch it?
I was on Amazon. I bought it on Amazon. It comes on Blu-ray in like 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, but it hit streaming today. Mm-hmm. So I showed that to her before all the fucking had commenced. And Aldo, you're always critical of Curb Your Enthusiasm and always defend it. The one from this Sunday I watched was like the worst episode of all time. I just did not laugh at all.
Thank you. I did not laugh either, but I was afraid to bring it up because I almost feel bad that I don't like the show as much as you guys. Do you watch it, Tooch? I don't remember.
I always forget that it's on. I've seen it a few times. I think it's really funny. I love Larry David and his castmates they're all so funny, man.
Yeah.
But it's one of those shows that make me so damn nervous, because it's very uncomfortable, like The Office. Shows like Seinfeld and The Office. It makes me so uncomfortable. Like, oh, why are they doing that? No.
Yes, right. But, something bad is going to happen to Larry because he's acting like an asshole. And so you are sort of on edge. But Dan, who was the special guest star for last Sunday's show? Because I thought it was
the guy, Chris, the MSNBC guy.
Oh, Willie Geist.
Willie Geist. Yeah, I just did not find it was the worst episode I think I've ever seen. And it was coming off last week's episode was great.
Which you loved, yes.
Yeah, I didn't laugh hardly at all on this one. I was like, man, I feel like Aldo watching this.
Yeah, I am now watching them religiously. I've even gone back to watch some episodes. I certainly don't like it as much as you, but were you guys Seinfeld fans?
Seinfeld I thought was okay. I love Curb. I didn't love Seinfeld. Seinfeld was okay.
I saw all the Seinfeld ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I've some were great. The Masters of Your Domain. Some of the episodes are great, but it's okay. House of Ninjas. I have not seen that. Tooch, that sounds like something you'd be interested in.
I haven't. I saw it today. I was like, "What the heck is this?" I don't know. I didn't know what it was, but I haven't seen it yet. I saw it today, and I thought I'd read a little synopsis about it. But I saw Oppenheimer over.
Finally!
Really enjoyed it. It was.
It's impeccable. Is it not impeccable?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's Christopher Nolan is probably top 1 or 2 directors in the world right now.
Oh, could I mention one more show real quick?
Sure.
My lady at work, she says I'm her work husband. We've worked together a decade now. My friend Robin. She has me watching a show on FX that, in theory, I should like because it has such a great cast. But I just hate the fucking actor. It's called Capote versus something. Capote versus the Swan or something. Like you got Diane, like you got Demi Moore, you got a fucking cat. Naomi Watts. The guy that plays this Capote guy makes me want to throw my head through a fucking window. He's awful.
It's like he's got two famous families bickering with one another because he's sharing secrets or something
Every episode is exactly the same thing. I'm drinking too much. He talks way over the top like this, and he wants the women to take him back. It's every episode. I've seen like 5 episodes, and I can't distinguish one from the other. It's terrible. Terrible.
It's got quite the cast. Naomi Watts, Diane Lane, Callista Flockhart, Demi Moore, Molly Ringwald.
Exactly. It's got a great cast. I was like, this is going to be fucking great. Yeah. And the main guy that plays Capote or whatever makes me want to slash my wrist.
Yeah, he's been the subject of a number of movies.
Who was
he's just
the actor who plays him in this one, Danny?
Tom Hollander, I believe his name is. Yeah, Tom Hollander plays Truman Capote.
I don't know who Truman Capote is in real life. Maybe his acting is like on par, like it's perfect. If that's the case, then I hate Truman Capote.
Well, yeah, Truman Capote was a flaming gay guy who became famous for his stories, including he wrote the book In Cold Blood about the 2 murderers who wiped out a family in rural Kansas, and it became a John Frankenheimer film with Robert Blake and I forgot his co-star, but a very, very.
You think Robert Blake was guilty
of shooting his wife?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Just checking. Just checking.
He's still in prison, isn't he, or is he out? Robert Blake, was he released from prison?
He's dead.
Did he pass away in prison or out?
I think he was out of prison, and I believe that Mike North did Mike North and I actually did a show about him, about his life. He just died about less than 2 years ago. I'm looking for some video of Truman Capote because I'm surprised, Dan, that you've never heard of.
I don't know anything about him, but you should watch the trailer for the show. It's awful.
I've seen the trailer for the show. I thought it looked intriguing.
I give it 2 big fucking balls down. Unfortunately, I have a big ball bag. So
I finally saw that X movie, X, that you guys told me.
Yeah, that's good, right?
It was good. Yeah, it was a great throwback. It's like classic horror slasher film, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really well done.
That lady in X was also in that Cronenberg's son's film that I liked called Infinity Pool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was in that too.
Right. Is that Mia Goth?
Yes, that's exactly who it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have you all watched Infinity Pool yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
I really, really liked it.
Excellent. Great acting, intriguing plot. It's a typical Cronenberg film, even though this one was done by his son, right?
It does feel like it could have been his dad, doesn't it? It felt
right.
It really felt like it could be his dad.
Yeah. Let me see if I can cue up this Capote thing, because when you see him in real life, you're going to probably understand. Oh, I get it. That actor is doing a spot on Capote impression. Let's see here. Here it is.
Oh, the other night on television, and I'd seen it before, and I forgot what a powerful film that was. In Cold Blood was on, based on your book. Gee, that was a powerful picture. I hadn't seen it for about 4 years, and that really was remarkable.
Those 2 boys in that film were really remarkable.
God, he sounds like Brando on The Godfather or something.
Except with somebody squeezing his balls.
Yeah. That actor is doing a good impression then. But yeah, so I don't like this guy or the way he talks. Not because he's gay. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. It's like, because everything he says, like, he accentuates to, like, he would be like, we're fans of the Chicago Bears. You know, like, everything has, like, this added emphasis, like extra syllables or something.
Yeah. Capote was as gay as a Beyonce concert, says the scrolls.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
Transplant. Vocal cord transplant if I was that guy.
Anything else, Dan, that you've seen that you want to recommend or not recommend?
I think that's all I got for you on this week. I've been busy.
What do you got, Tooch?
I saw a movie called The Beekeeper. I didn't even never heard of it before, but it was it's like the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Identity movies, but it's Stan's favorite guy, Jason Statham or whatever his name is.
No.
And he's like a beekeeper, and he's rents this space on this woman's farm, and the woman's an old lady, and she gets like catfished or whatever, and the people drain all of her. It's one of those things, your computer's infected with a virus, and she gives them our password, they drain everything, and she commits suicide because she was so distraught, and he goes after these horrible people that are preying on old folks, and stealing all their money that they worked for their whole life, and he's like, apparently he was like a guy in a special like treadstone program, like the Jason Bourne, and he's like, he just goes around beating everybody's ass. So it's like it's a popcorn movie, martial arts,
one movie that I want to see is not the new Godzilla movie that's coming out, but Aaron McCoskey recommended a Japanese film on Godzilla that was out in November, and he says it's probably the best Godzilla movie ever done. And there's two versions of it. One is in color, and the other one's in black and white. And I've been trying to desperately find it at a theater or on streaming, and it's not available anywhere right now, but should be available streaming or on disc very soon. He says
what's it called?
It's Godzilla versus something. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But one of the things that makes it so good is that Godzilla -1. And one of the things that makes it so intriguing, according to a report that I read, was that it really focuses on the characters who are being affected by Godzilla's tirade, and less on the monster. And so it's the personal stories. And Aaron, who I love his taste in these European or outside international monster movies and occult type films. He's got great taste in them. So I desperately want to see Godzilla -1. J2K saw it and gives it a thumbs up.
Excellent.
You're not,
all right.
Dan Aguirre's not into that, right? Godzilla.
Aaron McCoskey and I always joked on I Have a Stream that, you know what? You and I have the opposite opinion on everything except the Bears. And maybe not everything, but with TV shows. And he's into like Kung Fu and shit like that. And, Game of Thrones. And I'm just into weird shit that he's not into. So, yeah, Godzilla isn't my thing. Like, I've never watched a Godzilla movie that I enjoyed. Never. Or King Kong.
Dan, have you watched all the John Waters movies? Because I know you watched Pink Flamingos recently.
I saw I've seen several. That Multiple Maniacs recently is the one where the divine gets fucked in the ass with a rosary in a church, and then when they're walking out, they refer to it as a rose job. God, it's so, I could see, like, my dad's side of the family's Catholic. I mean, I could have had sex with a fucking dog and it would have been less offensive than watching that film to my family. But yeah, I've seen a couple of the Waters films. They're wild, man. They're crazy all over the place.
Unbelievable. I'm being asked for a weather report. I don't have one. I should have done one with, it's like some sexy weather girl being drenched down by a tornado in Chicago.
There's no weather girl tonight?
No. Let's see if I can maybe quickly load in a past weather report for your enjoyment. There you go. Right. What do you guys think of this young?
Good shoulders.
She's all right. Yeah. It's funny because the temperatures in Chicago actually got up into the 70s this week. Man. Sure, you guys don't give a shit about that. We had
like 5 straight 60, 70 weather out here.
We have some
was
like
good.
bizarre day scheduled tomorrow where it's going to be like 62 at like noon. And then by 3, it's going to drop to like 45.
That's what we
and
have today.
45 mile per hour wind and just like, fuck, man. Can we please get spring? I'm ready to mow the lawn.
70 today at noon, and then at 5 when I was walking to my car after work.
Well, that's what we're getting. It's coming from you.
Yeah,
yep,
exactly. Coming your way. Yep. I have something for Danny though. Saw this on X. I clipped it for you, Danny, your girlfriend.
Ooh,
look at
this Danny.
What is her name again? Sylvia Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney. That's
Sydney.
Dan's.
That's from Euphoria.
Yeah, it's Dan's girlfriend.
Holy shit. She was so, like, her titties were so good on season 2. Oh, my God. Season 3 is supposed to be next year. I don't know. These kids can't possibly still be in high school. There has to be, like, the college years Euphoria.
Yeah. Or maybe they were held behind for too much fucking. There's a.
I'm lucky that didn't happen to me. And ironically, that's who I'm with now. The same person I was, savagely penetrating in those early high school days.
Are you inviting her onto the show?
Yeah. I threw a tour. Like, oh, that's a bad pun. I mentioned the show thing to her. Yeah, that could happen sometime. I mean, probably not for a bit, but yeah, later in the summer.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we got another weather report.
Like her grandma died today, so.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but at least we did all the filthy stuff first.
Was her grandma in a cage too, like Bragg's grandma?
No, she was in some type of like hospice kind of thing. Her health. She'd had a stroke, and then you just go downhill from there. But yeah, that weather girl there. Look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with this weather report.
Yeah. Yep.
Keith got an eggplant. We could just keep this on the screen for the rest of the show. What do you guys think?
If this lady was wearing a Packers jersey, she would still be sexy. And I won't say that about mostly any woman. Like, remember when Rogers was with that girl from the newsroom?
Yeah.
What was her name? She was in that Jeff Daniels show, The Newsroom. And I was like, fuck her. She's not as attractive as I used to think. Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn.
Yeah, she's good looking. She's even better looking without Rogers.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from.
That was awesome.
I would be willing to suck Aaron Rodgers' dick.
Oh, no.
That should be in the podcast drops Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And we still didn't get that Super Bowl. I make a
I don't
fool
mean
of
any
myself.
disrespect to actual cocksuckers, but Rodgers is a fucking cocksucker.
Yeah, that's all
Be
true.
up there too, though.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you were saying that?
I was just saying I humiliate myself for the Bears, and we still didn't get that Super Bowl.
I know.
Haven't even won a playoff game since Jay Cutler was here.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, guys, it sounds to me like we're running out of gas here. Any final thoughts? I know I'm
not running out of gas. I've shit 9 times, I think. So
you better get some Gatorade in you, some Pedialyte or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I definitely need some electrolytes, I think.
Yeah, drink a lot of water, dude.
I just this whole decision gate thing. I've never seen anything like it, Aldo.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Man,
but I'm sort of enjoying it. What I don't like is, Bears fans, black, you've heard of black on black crime. This is like Bears fans on Bears fans crime.
Exactly.
Bear fan on Bear fan crime. But I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it too, even though it's giving me acne. But I know, right?
My wife put makeup on. Your wife put took care of your beard, and my wife put some makeup on to hide my zip.
Is it giving you like acne on your ass?
Probably.
I don't know, man, but I'll tell you what, I've had some hemorrhoids the last few days. Jesus,
I'm not sure. Is this J2K giving you sex advice, or is it for your?
Hey, I'll take the sex advice too.
No, you eat a banana. You need that potassium in you. So banana.
Oh, you want me to bare my soul about sex real quick?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll bare my soul as I'm getting older. Like, because I never really had this problem before. You're like, 43 now, so the thing I have to confess is I don't have out and out ED. Like today, I threw some really good fucking. I mean, I did a good job, but like tomorrow, it might not be this. You know what I mean? Like I'm having like I'm not. I feel like I'm not a starter anymore. Now I'm like the sixth man. I have good games and bad games, and then I mean, again, I'm 43, but I think that's starting to take hold. Like you lose your erection a little bit. You know, you get it back. I get it back, but I feel like older age is starting to plague me a little bit. I'm starting to slow down.
When you get to be Aldo in my age?
No shit.
Well, I mean, I guess I can try to get, if it goes worse, I could still try to get prescriptions and this, that, and the other. But again, it's a thing you pride yourself on. My dick is doing well, So it's not as good as it used to be.
Well, I think a lot of people in the
not broken. No. I did well today. Did really well today. Not broken. It's not as proficient. I feel like I was like a not a triple double guy, but by God, I was scoring 20 and my dick was taking home 7 boards and 5 assists. But,
you think this would help?
It might. I just feel like it's like I'm the sixth man now, but I could be the sixth man of the year. Just not the starter now.
When Steve Sachs couldn't throw from second to first base when he was on the White Sox, Aldo. That's what Dan.
I'm Mark DeGuire when my namesake, when Detroit said, you know what, we're going to start Rodman. And Mark DeGuire went to the bench. That's me.
Here's the best chat message of the night. Dan performs like Justin Fields in the fourth quarter.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't say that.
See, even Dan is saying he's not that bad.
It just depends on the day. I mean, come on. Has no one else been faced this adversity?
No, what happens to me now is, I need a good couple of days before I can perform at top level. And I'm exaggerating. I need a good couple of weeks before I can perform the way I used to. It doesn't come as easily as it did. But
yeah, I feel like my thing is I lose. Sometimes I'm losing some of the air in the tire. I can get it back, but the tire is not as inflated as it should be.
Yeah, and for me, I can get it inflated quickly. All you got to do is stick a finger on my ass. I'm sure that'll work.
I'm not homophobic, but I'd rather just leave my ass out of this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just have that as a backup plan.
There you go.
All right, I need to get out of here. Tooch, you're back here on Friday, Weekend Sports Tips. You had a good week last week, right?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, it's college basketball's tough tonight. There's some upsets, and I think I did okay tonight. Had some nice plays for tonight, and some not so nice. Arkansas getting upset at home by Vanderbilt. What the hell? Yeah, had the Houston Cincinnati under.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas lost outright at home to BYU. Wow.
And I'm sure Dan really cares about those scores. To him, that's gibberish.
No, I'm not. I mean, I know people like different things. I'm just not a college guy.
No, I love college basketball.
That's a good way to make money. I'll tell you that.
I'm not a gambler, man. I'm not Pete Rose. Come on.
Dan, any final words?
I like Justin Fields would want this to be over one way or the other. Unlike yourself, I'm not breaking out, but man, it is a little stressful. I don't even want to. I almost want to unfollow the Bears too until next week or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, I do. I wish I knew like where it was going. Fuck, I know I don't want this to be dragged out till May.
No, exactly, and I highly doubt that it will be. I think that probably within 2 or 3 weeks we'll know if Justin Fields is going to be traded or not. I don't think they want to wait and keep him.
Yeah, how soon do you think? I mean,
May 10th was when they made the trade of the number 1 pick last year. So
right.
I would imagine that, a week or two after the combine, we'll get some news.
Yeah, I mean, this year you have to assume it's going to be earlier since, if they're going to trade Justin Fields,
right?
Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, if they all have homes,
exactly.
Justin Fields might not be as large as previous.
Yeah, I would not at all be surprised based on what I heard today if Shane Waldron is pounding the table for Russell Wilson to be that 1 year stopgap
with a rookie behind him.
Exactly. All right. Next time we're talking football here is tomorrow at 2 p.m. because on the Bar Down Talking Hockey Show, Vinny Parisi and Frank Mueller love to talk about the Chicago Bears, and so they'll devote about a third of their show to football. So catch them at 2 p.m. And then at 6 p.m. it'll be the Mac and Reed Show. They'll go over all of the stuff. They've got great opinions on everything that's happening. And then Danny Shimon and I are back on Thursday night. Dan Aguirre, Johnny Santucci, I love you guys. And everyone in the chat, love you guys too. Thanks for hanging around with us. We'll see you next week.